Can a handful of salt sprinkled at your front door in the evening decide whether tomorrow you'll be poor or wealthy? The question may sound like a joke, but hidden within it is a Feng Shui secret that very few people know. The front entrance is the mouth of the house, the place where energy enters, directly influencing your money, health, and family's fortune. When negative energy flows in, it brings with it exhaustion, obstacles, and hardship. But if you know the way, just a small act with salt can cleanse the stagnant energy and open the path for prosperity to rush in as soon as the next day. Before we begin, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Every week, I'll share with you practical and easy-to-apply Feng Shui secrets that will help you attract abundance and restore balance to the energy in your home. And right now, leave a comment as an affirmation for yourself. I am sweeping away all negative energy and opening the way for prosperity to step into my home. This affirmation is not just words. It is the key to activating a new flow of energy starting today. Did you know that every bit of wealth or misfortune in your home begins right at the front door? It may sound simple, but in Feng Shui, the main entrance is called the mouth of the house. This is the very first place energy passes through before spreading to every corner inside. If negative energy comes in, it carries stress, fatigue, and failure with it. But when positive energy is welcomed, the home becomes bright, work flows smoothly, and financial opportunities naturally find their way to you. That is why, since ancient times, every important spiritual or Feng Shui ritual has always started at the threshold. It is the pivotal point that determines whether a household thrives in prosperity or struggles in scarcity. And it is right here, at this very spot, that a single handful of salt can make all the difference, sweeping away stagnant energy while opening the pathway for luck and abundance to flood in. Many people have heard about sprinkling salt at the doorstep, but most do it hastily, just grabbing a pinch of salt, tossing it quickly, and walking away. Done that way, it carries no real power, because in both Feng Shui and spirituality, effectiveness does not come only from the material itself, but from how you perform the act and the energy you infuse into it. The ritual of sprinkling salt is truly a union of action, belief, and focus. If done correctly, it can become a turning point, transforming your home into a space that naturally attracts luck and wealth. 1. Choosing the right kind of salt. In daily life, many assume that all salt is the same, but in Feng Shui and spiritual practice, the type of salt you choose is the very foundation that determines the strength of the ritual. Salt is not just a seasoning for the kitchen. It is a symbol of purity, with the power to absorb negative energy and form an invisible shield of protection around your home. The most potent type is usually coarse, dry, white salt. The more intact each crystal remains, the purer the energy it holds. Many Feng Shui masters and spiritual practitioners recommend using raw sea salt, minimally refined. Why? Because such salt still carries the breath of the ocean, a vast, powerful force of natural energy. When you place this kind of salt at your doorstep, it's as if you are bringing the strength of the sea itself to guard your home. If all you have is ordinary table salt, you can still use it as long as it is clean and dry. What you must avoid is damp salt, clumped salt, or salt that has been spilled before. That kind of salt has already absorbed old energy and is no longer pure. Using it would be no different than opening the door to invite negativity back inside. Imagine that you are welcoming prosperity and luck into your home. Surely, the gift you offer to greet it must be the purest and cleanest you can give. That is why, before beginning the ritual, always prepare a fresh bowl of white, dry salt. Such a simple preparation alone can transform the entire outcome of the practice. 2. The crucial timing. Even the simplest ritual requires the right timing in order to fully unleash its power. With the salt sprinkling ritual, timing is the key that unlocks the protective energy shield. Done at the wrong moment, its effect may weaken significantly. In Feng Shui, the nighttime is when energy settles. Daytime is full of constant movement, with energy currents shifting endlessly. But once night falls, the home grows still, and the surrounding energy is far less disturbed. That is why the best time to sprinkle salt is in the evening, especially right before going to bed. Throughout the night, the salt has time to work drawing in the stagnant energy, purifying the old vibrations, and building an invisible layer of protection for your household. The very next morning, you may feel the difference. The air inside feels lighter, your mood more at ease, and sometimes you'll notice the new day unfolds with surprising smoothness. Some people even share that after doing the ritual at night, they sleep more peacefully, have fewer nightmares, and wake up feeling clearer and more refreshed. Beyond daily practice, many also choose special times such as the last night of the month or the first night of the new month. These are seen as moments of ending and beginning, closing off the old and welcoming a new cycle. Others prefer Friday or Sunday nights, using them to set the energetic tone for a coming week filled with luck. Above all, remember this, the most powerful time to sprinkle salt is whenever you can devote a few calm minutes without rush or distraction, because in Feng Shui, it is your focus and belief that awaken the true power of salt. 3. The proper way to sprinkle salt. Many people think it's enough to grab a handful of salt and toss it outside the door. But in Feng Shui, how you do it is just as important as the salt you choose. Sprinkling salt is not a casual gesture. It is a ritual that requires order, clarity, and focus. There are 3 most common methods of sprinkling salt. Sprinkling a line across the threshold. Take a handful of salt and spread it in a thin line from left to right across the front entrance. This method works like raising an invisible wall, blocking negative energy from stepping inside. Placing salt on both sides of the door, set a small pinch of salt on the left and right corners of the entrance. This creates the image of having 2 guardians standing watch, allowing only positive energy to pass through, sprinkling a small circle in the center. If you want to create a sense of complete protection, use the salt to form a small circle right in the middle of the doorway. The circle symbolizes wholeness and safety, keeping the household in a constant state of balance. You can choose one method or combine all 3 to enhance the effect. What matters most is to do it calmly and deliberately, not in a rush. As you sprinkle, imagine each grain of salt turning into light, spreading across the threshold, and forming a powerful shield of protection. Katu, the right mindset while performing the ritual. The ritual of sprinkling salt will lose its meaning if you perform it with a careless, rushed, or negative attitude. Salt only reveals its full power when you infuse it with belief and positive energy. That's why your mindset is the first step of preparation. Stand in front of the door for a few seconds, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and slowly exhale, feeling as if you are washing away the worries of the day. As you hold the salt in your hand, think of it as a tool of light, capable of sweeping away every trace of misfortune. While sprinkling, you may whisper or say aloud a positive affirmation such as, "Only luck and prosperity may cross this threshold. All negativity stops here. Only good energy enters my home." These words are not only to help you focus, they transform the act into a sacred moment. Remember this truth. The ritual is not an automatic magic trick. It is a union of matter and spirit. When you sprinkle salt with calmness, with faith, and with a gentle smile, the salt itself becomes an invisible shield, guarding your home and your family through the night. 5. Mistakes to avoid. Although the ritual of sprinkling salt seems simple, it is surprisingly easy to make mistakes if you are not mindful. Some errors may appear small, but they can completely strip the salt of its power. The most common mistake is sweeping the salt away too soon. Many people sprinkle salt and then quickly clean it up, afraid of making a mess, or worried about what the neighbors might think. But if you remove it right away, the salt has no time to absorb negative energy or form its protective shield. Always leave the salt overnight. The next morning, you may sweep it away. The second mistake is using damp or dirty salt. Salt that is clumped, spilled, or mixed with impurities is no longer pure. Instead of cleansing energy, it may carry stale vibrations and have the opposite effect. Always choose clean, dry, and fresh salt. Another mistake is performing the ritual while in a negative emotional state. If you are angry, anxious, or depressed, that energy will imprint itself into the act. Rather than creating protection, You might accidentally strengthen the heaviness around you. Also, sprinkling salt in the wrong place reduces its effectiveness. The proper location is only at the threshold, the exact point where energy enters the home. Sprinkling salt in the kitchen, bedroom, or corners of the house will not create the intended results. Finally, the greatest mistake of all is a lack of belief. If you do this ritual merely as an experiment or a joke, the salt will not work. Faith is the very energy that activates the ritual. Only when you believe and focus does the salt truly become the invisible shield that guards your family. 6. A story from the ancients. Since ancient times, salt has been tied to rituals of protection and purification. Many cultures regard salt as a gift from the sea, pure, powerful, and essential in sacred ceremonies. One story is told about a small village. In that village lived a family plagued by hardship, business failures, declining health, and a heavy, oppressive atmosphere in their home. They tried many remedies, but nothing improved. At last, a Feng Shui master advised them to sprinkle salt at their doorway each night. At first, they were doubtful, but with nothing left to lose, they decided to try. On the very first night, they sprinkled a thin line of salt across the threshold and whispered, "Only good things may step into this house." The next morning, they felt the air lighter, the tension eased. A week later, the family received an important business contract. The villagers believed it was the salt ritual that shifted the flow of energy. The story spread, and soon other families in the village began doing the same. They came to see salt not only as seasoning, but as an invisible guardian, keeping misfortune out while inviting prosperity in. To this day, the story is still retold as a reminder that sometimes the simplest actions can bring about the greatest transformations. 7. Turning the ritual into a habit. Sprinkling salt at the doorstep should not be done just once, as a symbolic act. It should be maintained as a habit. In Feng Shui, the energy inside a home is never static. It shifts over time. If you do it only once, the effect is temporary. But when you repeat the ritual regularly, you sustain a flow of pure, stable energy that lasts. You may choose specific times to weave this ritual into your life. For example, sprinkle salt on Friday night to close out the old week and prepare for the new one. Or sprinkle it on the last night of the month to shut down unwanted energy. And on the first night of the month to welcome fresh luck. Some even choose their birthday, the first day of the year, or other significant occasions, using the ritual as a way to kickstart a new journey. This practice is much like cleaning your house. Dusting keeps the physical space clear, while sprinkling salt keeps the energy pure. The more consistently you do it, the stronger the protection for your home becomes. You'll also feel greater peace of mind, because with every grain of salt you place, you're sending out a message. I am keeping my home safe, and I am opening the door for prosperity. The difference you may feel. Many people who have performed this ritual the right way share that they notice changes in a surprisingly short time. The first difference is in the atmosphere of the home. Instead of heaviness and gloom, the space feels lighter, fresher, more inviting. Walking through the door no longer feels burdensome. It feels as if an invisible weight has been lifted away. Another change comes with sleep. People often report that they sleep more deeply, have fewer nightmares, and wake up feeling clearer and more refreshed. This happens because negative energy is blocked at the threshold, leaving peace to fill the resting space. Relationships also tend to improve. Family members feel more open to conversation. Arguments lessen, and warmth and closeness increase. As positive energy rises, harmony among people naturally follows. And finally, many notice improvements in work and finances. Some receive unexpected good news at the office. Others find new business opportunities. They believe that the salt's protective shield has cleared the way for luck to flow in more freely. These differences may feel small at first, but over time, as you maintain the habit, they accumulate into powerful transformation. This is not magic. It is the natural result of keeping the energy in your home pure and balanced. In life, the biggest changes often begin with the simplest actions. Sprinkling a handful of salt at your door may sound ordinary, but in Feng Shui, it is like closing the gate against harmful energy while opening the path for fortune to flow in. The ritual costs nothing. requires no complexity, just a few minutes and a bit of focus. But its true power lies in the spiritual message it carries. You are declaring to the universe that you are ready to receive prosperity, and when repeated regularly, this small act becomes an invisible shield helping you rest easier, live lighter, and dwell each day within a stream of positive energy. At first glance, sprinkling salt at the front door seems simple. Just a handful of salt, a few minutes, and you're done. But in reality, many people make mistakes and then feel disappointed when they see no results. In Feng Shui, salt acts as an energy shield. Done properly, it is powerful and effective. But if mistakes are made, salt becomes nothing more than ordinary grains, sometimes even backfiring. Below are the most common errors, why they are dangerous, and how to avoid them so the ritual unleashes its full strength. One of the most frequent mistakes is sprinkling salt and then sweeping it away immediately out of fear of dirt or embarrassment that neighbors might notice. But this very action cancels the ritual's power. Salt needs time to work to absorb negative energy and build its invisible shield of protection around the home. If you remove it too soon, it's like building a wall only to tear it down at once. The best practice is to leave the salt overnight. Nighttime is when energy settles, and the salt can fully activate its cleansing effect. The next morning, you may gently sweep it away. Don't worry about the minor mess. What you receive in return is peace of mind and a fresh current of energy for your entire family. Another common mistake is using damp, clumped, or previously spilled salt. In Feng Shui, salt represents purity. Once it has absorbed moisture or become contaminated, it loses its ability to draw out negativity and may even trap stale energy instead. If you use such salt at the doorway, the ritual is almost entirely ineffective. Always prepare fresh, clean, dry salt. Ideally, use coarse crystals or natural sea salt, which hold the raw, potent energy of nature. Never use leftover cooking salt or salt that has been spilled before. Imagine this. You are inviting prosperity and fortune into your home. You would never greet them with a worn-out or damaged gift. A third mistake is tossing salt carelessly, as if scattering seasoning in the kitchen. Done this way, it creates no clear protective boundary. In Feng Shui, order and form carry deep meaning. Each method of sprinkling has its own symbolism. A line across the threshold represents a wall that blocks negativity. 2 pinches on either side are like guards standing watch, and a small circle at the threshold signifies wholeness and total protection. If you scatter salt randomly, the energy disperses weakly like a fence full of gaps. When performing the ritual, take your time. Sprinkle salt neatly and deliberately. This sense of order is what transforms salt into a true shield of protection, rather than meaningless grains scattered on the floor. Many people sprinkle salt while they are angry, worried, or exhausted, and then wonder why the ritual doesn't work. The truth is, your energy is the key that activates the salt. If you carry a negative mindset, that energy imprints itself onto the ritual, causing the salt to hold on to heaviness instead of cleansing it. Before you begin, pause for a few minutes, breathe deeply, relax your shoulders, and let your mind quiet down. When you hold the salt in your hand, imagine it glowing with light, ready to sweep away every trace of misfortune. Sprinkle the salt with peace and faith, and you will find the ritual turning into a sacred moment. But if you do it in negativity, the salt simply falls to the ground, empty and powerless. Another mistake is performing the ritual with a half-hearted attitude, doing it just for fun, or with the thought, this probably won't do anything. Without belief, salt is only salt, and the ritual is nothing more than an empty act. In Feng Shui, belief is the very energy that activates the practice. Each grain of salt carries the intention and message you place within it. If the message is weak, the results will be weak. But when your belief is strong, the salt becomes a tool that connects you to the positive energy of the universe. This is not superstition, it is the principle of focus. The universe often responds to what you truly believe and desire. That is why, before sprinkling salt, affirm clearly within yourself, I am opening the path for fortune to step into my home. Some also make the mistake of sprinkling salt in the wrong places, such as the kitchen corners, bedroom, or balcony. Many assume that anywhere in the house will work, but that is completely false. In Feng Shui, the front entrance is the mouth of the home, where energy enters and spreads throughout every room. If you want to block negativity and invite positive flow, the doorway is the only strategic point. Placing salt there creates the strongest protective shield. Anywhere else, the salt is simply lying there without Feng Shui effect. Always focus on the main entrance place, the salt right where energy enters, and you will notice a far greater shift in your home. Another common error lies in the amount of salt. Some use too little, just a few grains falling at the doorway. That is far too weak to create a protective barrier. It is like a fence full of gaps where negative energy easily slips through. Others go to the opposite extreme, pouring too much salt until the doorway is covered in a thick layer. That makes the entrance feel heavy, even unpleasant to step over. In Feng Shui, balance is always the key. A single handful is enough to form a thin line across the threshold, or to divide into 2 small pinches at each side. This is both easy to clean and strong enough to protect. Remember, more is not always better. It is balance that creates true results. Finally, some leave the salt in place for too long. They believe the longer it sits, the stronger the protection, but in truth, the opposite happens. Over time, salt absorbs moisture, dust, and old energy, eventually becoming a nest of stagnant chai. Instead of protecting, it weighs the house down even more. The best practice is to leave the salt overnight, or at most for 1 day. After that, sweep it away and discard it. Then repeat the ritual on chosen days. By doing this, you keep the energy in your home constantly fresh. Think of it like replacing fresh flowers in a vase, always renewed, always vibrant, always keeping your home's energy pure. Many people make the mistake of performing the salt ritual in a rush, or with a distracted mind. They hold the salt while thinking about work, their phone, or family issues. When the mind is scattered, the ritual becomes nothing more than a mechanical gesture. In Feng Shui, it is the energy you pour into the ritual that truly matters. If you sprinkle salt with full focus, each grain carries your intention and message. But if your mind is elsewhere, the salt simply falls to the ground without power. So before you begin, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, set aside all worries, and center yourself. Imagine that you are building a wall of light across your threshold. Only then will the ritual come alive with true effect. Another mistake is treating the act of sprinkling salt as a mere folk custom or a superstition to laugh at. Some go through the motions half-heartedly, even mocking it as they do. But by disrespecting the ritual, you strip away its power. In Feng Shui, reverence and sincerity are the energies that activate the practice. Remember, this ritual has existed for thousands of years across many cultures. It has survived not by chance, but because people have felt its real impact. When performed with respect, salt becomes both a shield of protection and an invitation to prosperity. If done with mockery, it becomes nothing more than grains of salt on the floor. Approach the ritual as an act of care for your home and for yourself. Mistakes in the salt ritual can cause you to miss the chance to cleanse your space and invite luck. But when you avoid these errors, salt becomes a powerful shield for your family. Always remember the 3 keys. The salt must be pure, the act must be orderly, and your mindset must be positive. When these 3 elements unite, you unlock the doorway to peace, prosperity, and happiness. As you can see, sometimes the biggest changes in life begin with the smallest actions. Just a handful of salt at your doorway each evening, and yet it can open a flow of fresh energy, block negativity, and invite fortune into your home. In Feng Shui, it is often these simple details that hold the true keys to transformation. You don't need complex ceremonies or expensive objects. All it takes is a little clean salt, a few quiet moments, and belief placed firmly in your action. With that, you can turn your doorway into a gate of light, a passage where only positive energy may enter. When you keep this practice alive day by day, you'll notice the changes: lighter spaces, deeper sleep, warmer relationships, and smoother opportunities in work and finances. The most important truth I want you to remember is this: you are the one who creates the difference. Each grain of salt is not just matter, it carries the intention and faith you send into the universe. When you sprinkle salt, you are telling yourself, I am ready to release what no longer serves me, and I am opening the door for good things to flow in. That is a powerful affirmation, and the universe will answer in kind. So, starting tonight, don't hesitate. Sprinkle salt at your doorstep and wake up tomorrow to a fresh stream of energy. If you find this ritual meaningful, make it a steady habit, a small act that brings protection and prosperity for your whole family. Before we close, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the practical Feng Shui secrets I'll be sharing each week. And if this video has value for you, share it with friends and loved ones. Let's spread clean, positive energy into more homes. Finally, leave a comment below as a personal affirmation. I am inviting prosperity into my life right now. When you write it down, it's not just a line in the comments. It is the moment you open the door wider for fortune and new opportunities to come closer to you.